Hey folks, welcome back to Jerome Bee Farm and Homestead. It's Saturday, October 19th, and fall finally got here. We had a freeze Wednesday, and the prior week we set a record high at 92. So we went from 92 to 31. It's crazy. And we got some freeze damage around, not too much, but where the plants are kind of out in the open and tall, like tomatoes. All my lower garden tomato vines are pretty much toast. But the stuff around the house, the wife's flowers and such, are pretty good, which reminds me I need to shoot a video of that for you guys that like to check out Barbara's flowers. Man, they're spectacular. So I need to get that done before they all get frozen, because they really look nice. So today I'm going to be getting down onto, and it's 78 degrees right now. It's pretty warm actually. I'm going to get down to this Hive 24, the one I had the honey on, and when I put that honey on there, a quart of honey to feed them, so that hive's very light. It needs way more stores. The population's low. It's queen right. They're just not doing well. So there's a couple things I can do with that. I can do a double screen combine, and if I do that though, I want to put them the weak hive on the bottom, so heat goes up, right? And I don't want to put that weak hive on top and all the heat from the strong hive that's good go up in to protect that wimpy little hive, because it's probably really not worth saving at this point. So I did bring also an Apame hive with me, the nuke, the double nuke Apame. It's a 7 frame, so and it's insulated pretty well because it's plastic, so it's dead airspace. It's not like that 3/4 inch of pine that, you know, cold goes through it. All the pine box does is basically, it's a windbreak. It's not much insulative value, but these Apame hives, they have some insulation with that dead airspace from the plastic box. So I might put them into an Apame. First I want to get in there, see how much of that honey they took. If they took most of it or all of it, I may just wind up giving them another quart of that honey. I did bring a full deep frame of honey with me to put with them in case I do move them into this Apame. Okay, let's get down there and see what it looks like and get started. Okay, here's our Hive 24 that's got the quart of honey in there on an entrance feeder that is up inside this top box. So I put that beast blocker entrance reducer or hive protector, protects from robbing, on there after I did that. There was a little bit of robbing going on, so it's really dry, and robbing starts pretty quick when you open a hive. If you set a frame out, it gets going pretty quick. So let's get in here and see if they took that quart of honey down. I'm curious because it's been, you know, getting fairly cold in the nighttime here the last few days. It's down in the high 30s, low 40s. And when that honey gets thick like that, yeah, they haven't taken much. So I'll show you what we've got. Lift this up. There you go. So they've taken probably a little over 1/3 of it. See how many bees are down in this underneath it there. See if they're still working on it or not. Yeah, they're working it. And it's not turned to sugar. So let's check it out and see how much they've got stored inside of there. What it looks like. And I may go ahead and put that honey frame in here, but I don't want to leave that low of a population in this big of a box. So you can see the concentration of bees is right in here. I believe I put a little bit of a pollen patty in here too, if I remember right, to give them some pollen so the queen can raise some brood, get some brood going. Still empty. I can tell when I pick them up how much is in them, so there's nothing in this. Empty. So this hive has very little chance. I mean, they might make it through most of the winter, but towards the end, they're not going to make it because they don't have enough young bees that are going to get them through winter. A little bit of capped honey there. So if you're a new beekeeper and you've got one hive and it's this size and you're in my latitude, central Oklahoma, your bees probably aren't going to make it. So we got liquid here, so it looks like they've been putting that honey right there. I guess I could go ahead and put that other quart on another feeder to the back to speed it up some. But I think when it gets colder like this, they're less apt to take that honey down and move it. But you saw them on it there pretty good, but it's warm now. It's almost 80 degrees. So we got liquid there, some capped honey from before right there. This should be brood right here. Yeah, there's brood. There's our red queen. Man, she looks and acts okay. So I do see larvae. So she is actively laying, just not much. So yeah, that's the one. I got too much ink on her. I had too much ink on the pen and it smeared onto her wings. So, you know, she looks like she's peeking down into the cells like she's looking for places to lay. But you know, one thing I've not seen in all these frames is pollen. So you can have all the nectar in the world and no pollen. There's nothing for them to feed brood. And she won't lay eggs if there's nothing for them to eat. Well, I stand corrected. Here's a whole bunch of pollen. Yeah, look at all that pretty yellow pollen there. But, you know, it's one kind of pollen. So they need more than just one source of supply to have a diverse type of food. I mean, you don't want to eat, you know, steak every night. I don't know, that does sound kind of good though. So they need diverse protein. I might throw a little bit of pollen patty in here. So that's it. That's the end of the bees. There's a little bit right there. See if there's, and there's no honey in that one. And there's a little bit of capped right there. So you know what, I'm gonna, since there's no honey in this one, I'm gonna scoot it over one and put this one that has a little bit that's closer to them. So there's 2 frames I can get rid of out of 10. And there's this outside one here. So I can easily get 7. And I need 1 more to get rid of to add that frame of honey. So it's probably not going to be a problem. Thing is, I can't feed that honey if I put them into that apame, unless I pour it into that top feeder. I don't think that's a good idea because ants will get up in there. So I'm going to wait. Gosh, I'm going to wait, and I'm going to get that other jar on here so they have twice the surface area to feed off of to get that honey in there. And then I'll move them into the apame next week. We got some nice weather coming up too. It's supposed to be warmer. Okay, let's get this back on here. So I'll get that other jar and I'll put it right here. Get this closed up while I go do that. I don't want to leave that out in the open. We'll have us a robin frenzy in no time. All right, I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. I brought another entrance feeder and a lid with the holes in it. This one has been drilled out and I made a little bit bigger holes. So I think one reason they may be taking that slow is because the holes in that particular lid might be fairly small, and as thick as that honey is, they're having a hard time getting it out of there. It's just going slow for them. Take a look at it real quick. We'll see what it looks like. Yeah, it's pretty small. I don't know if you can see that or not, but there's a lot of smaller holes, but it looks like what they're getting is not on it. It's came out beyond the holes, which that's probably from when I lifted it up before. But yeah, I think that might be slowing them down. And there's honey down here on the bottom of this, which that probably came out just a while ago when I lifted this jar up upright, and it broke the vacuum on it, so some more came out, and it'll do it some more again. So I want to make sure this is up against that notched hole there, keep bees from getting inside of here. Here's my other jar of leftover honey from my cappings tank. It hadn't been filtered. I just put the jar underneath there and moved it over, scooched the honey around with a spatula to get it out of there. But wouldn't you know it, I grabbed a lid that's looked like it's been stepped on. It's not. Ah, there we go. It doesn't want to go down on there. Okay. So I'll just put this one here behind it. And this, with these bigger holes, I suspect it will come out of there faster. Yeah. We'll go with that for another week. Get you a close-up shot of this so you can see what it looks like. In my wax moth larva designer box, showing that off. I'm so proud of that. So yeah, see, they come and go outside this hole up into these. These are normally entrance feeders, and they work really good for this method of feeding. And by keeping them up here on this box like this and not putting them down on the entrance, there's no robbing involved with it like this. Because the bees, to get to this, have to go all the way through the hive, which this hive isn't very strong to defend itself. So let me get the lid on here. Yeah, so getting this extra feeder in here is going to give them more little holes to drink from and pull from, so it'll go down twice as fast. Looks like the bees have enough population to be taking it down. They're just having a little bit of a hard time with all those small holes. So we'll go with this for another week and see how they're going to do with that. Get my brick back up here. So when I have a brick laying horizontal in the front like this, that means I'm feeding that hive. So I'm feeding this one too. So let's get over here and check this out. I think I have a Ceracell feeder on this one. So this is hive 23. This is the hive that the queen over here came from, and she's at least last year's queen because she was overwintered, and I may not have marked her the prior year. Sometimes I don't get to it, but so she's at least 2 years old. Now, this is a man lake feeder, so I probably really loaded this one up. Let's see how it is on weight. So if you wonder why I'm feeding, I'm not feeding every hive. I'm only feeding the hives that did not have adequate weight. So it's medium to medium light, I'd say. Smoke these bees down off the bottom of they get on the bottom of this feeder, so this will help get them off. Then I'll get it off of here. See how much they stored away. And let me smash that hive beetle. Yeah, there's a few of them in here. Okay, looks like we got a really nice population here. It's just, there's not enough food in this to overwinter that many bees with this weight. Yeah, they'll make it to probably late January, depending on the weather, and they'll be out. And if we have a lot of warm days, the bees will be out flying around, using up their energy, needing more honey, burning up their stores. That's a problem here in central Oklahoma. We have some mild winter times for extended periods, The bees will consume a lot when it's warm and there's nothing to forage on, but they're out flying. So I got some pretty good liquid right here. To me, this hive needs one more round of feed on that top feeder there, filled fairly full, just like it was before the last round I gave it. Last round I gave them a lot. That's got a lot in there. Same here. And this is supplemented with Hive Alive feed supplement in my sugar water, and I fed 50-50. 1-to-1 ratio of sugar water to sugar to water. It's a little bit of brood right there, and a few larvae. So they filled in all around those larvae with that nectar. Yeah, if I remember right, this one was really light. So yeah, brood here. We got brood here surrounded with liquid where they've filled that in with the liquid. All around that brood. This frame's fairly heavy. So I'm pretty happy with this one, but I want to give them one more round. I'm feeding, I think, 8 or 9 hives right now. Some need it more than others, like that one there. It was way too light. And like I said earlier, I've got that full frame of honey that I'll put in there as well. I was thinking I might see that queen, but I'll bet since I smoked down to the top of them, she's headed down to the bottom box. Lots of liquid here. So they're doing good. I probably could get away without feeding this and just keep an eye on it late winter into the spring. But I'm going to make one more mix of sugar water, and I'm going to mix it heavy, which will be 2 parts sugar to 1 part water. And if I remember right, you can mix that in one 5-gallon bucket. You put 25 pounds of sugar in a 5-gallon bucket and 1 gallon of water. This hive here should do really well next year, because this will be a 2nd-year queen. And if she was mated really good this year, she ought to lay this up next spring and fill up at least 2 supers on this one. Okay, get my feeder back on here, put it on an angle so I don't smash so many bees. Yeah, so they've chased a few hive beetles up in this. So I'll go mix up my sugar water and come back down here and fill these up. Okay, I've got 2 bags of sugar left, so I'll be able to mix me up 10 gallons of heavy syrup and get back down here. And that'll be the last feeding I do for this year, unless later on I'll throw some fondant on these or some sugar cakes, because it'll be too cold about a month from now to do any more liquid feeding. So this will be my last liquid feed today. So that's the end of the video. Give me a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe on your way out. I'll catch you on the next beekeeping video. Y'all take care.